Hi, gentlemen, and welcome back to week 4. This week is all about approaching women, and also this is a week where we're going to be doing a lot of your online dating makeovers if this is something that you want. So I hope you're ready for this week because now you're going to get into the fun stuff. I know you've been eager to learn probably about approaching or for me to talk about approaching so you can get results with women, and we're going to get into that and getting results by approaching women because let me just start off with something. Men don't approach women anymore. So your chances of a woman thanking you for approaching her or just having a good conversation with her are highly, your success rate is more working in your favor at this point because less men are approaching women these days because of the online dating and so much more, which we're going to get into. So let's recap. Last week, we talked about effective communication and how important it is when it comes to having a conversation with a woman that you're interested in. We explored learning how to communicate your values and establish healthy boundaries in a way that doesn't come off as bossy or aggressive. It's all about becoming more empathetic and understanding both yourself and the woman you're dating. We also discussed boundaries and how important they are because they help you define what you're comfortable with in terms of behavior, communication, and physical intimacy. Remember, by establishing these boundaries, you're essentially teaching others how to treat you. It's important to have a good understanding of yourself and what you want in order to set healthy boundaries. Because if you don't know what your standards are, you won't be able to recognize when someone is mistreating you. By asking yourself some questions such as personal goals and expectations for communication, you can start to establish these non-negotiables. And then we talked about emotional communication, which is a huge part of boundaries, and empathy is key in making it work. So, by becoming more empathetic and understanding of others, you can communicate your boundaries in a healthy and positive way without coming across as bossy or aggressive. So now that we've done a little recap of last week, let's get right to this week. First things first. Before talking to any woman, I want to talk to you about the importance of being charming. You can approach a woman in pretty much any day-to-day activity, but if you aren't charming, you aren't going to get very far. And charm is not acting a certain way. It's just being comfortable with who you are. So let's take the example of approaching a woman at a gym. This can be a great spot to approach women, but it has to be done carefully. Men try to hit on women all the time at the gym, and she's not going to want to give you her number right off the bat. She knows that she's probably going to see you all the time, and if you both go to the same gym, so one of my key pieces of advice is to not come off too strong and ask her number immediately. You really don't want to come off too strong in this type of environment, especially in a place where a woman knows that she's constantly being checked out by other dudes in there. Instead, focus on charm, practice establishing banter, and you can begin to develop a connection with her. This we kind of call a warm approach situation. Warm approach situations are environments that you're likely to see her in again, or in some capacity know her. You can be funny and playful. While I expand on this a bit, and the best thing you can do is to get to a place where she actually starts to wonder if you're interested in her or not. That happens through conversation, banter, and just kind of having conversations on different days that you see her, and then taking it from there, and you can ask her out. But let me back up a little bit. One of the most exciting things for women is mystery. And if you can give her a thoughtful compliment, but hold off on asking for her number for a bit, and if you are able to be especially charming, you're going to be able to spark her interest and her curiosity. Imagine if she isn't sure, but she's starting to feel interested in you. She's going to spend a lot of time thinking about you. This is what we want to strive for, okay, guys? And the key ingredient for this to work is charm, which of course all boils down to how confident you are about yourself and the self-awareness. That's why I said week 1 is the key foundation to everything we're talking about here. So it goes even deeper than that actually as well. In fact, research has shows that charm can have a really powerful, effect on how we perceive others and on how our overall attraction to them is. One study published in the journal Emotion found that individuals who are described as charming were related as more attractive and likable by opposite sex judges. The study also found that the more charming someone was perceived to be, the more positively they were evaluated in terms of their physical attractiveness, intelligence, and social skills. Another study published in the Journal of Personal Relationships found that individuals who were perceived as more charismatic and charming were more likely to be chosen as partners in speed dating scenarios. The study found that both men and women were more likely to choose a partner who displayed these traits, suggesting that charm is an important factor in initial attraction. So why exactly is charm so attractive? Well, let's look at it from a subliminal standpoint. One theory is that it may signal positive qualities such as social skills, confidence, and emotional intelligence. When we encounter someone who is charming, we may interpret this as a sign that they are socially skilled and able to navigate complex situations or social situations with ease. Plus, charm may signal confidence and self-assurance, which, as you know, and attractive qualities in potential partners, right? Now, you see how nothing about looks came up. So, how do you develop this skill? Well, it's all about cultivating the traits and behaviors that make women naturally drawn to you. It's not about being fake or trying to be someone you're not, but rather about amplifying your most attractive qualities and learning to connect with women on a deeper level. First and foremost, it is important to be confident in yourself and your abilities. When you exude confidence, people naturally gravitate towards you because they feel secure and at ease in your presence. That's why I work so hard on giving you the tools to feel confident. So one way to boost your confidence is to focus on your strengths and accomplishments and to remind yourselves of them regularly. Whether that's through journaling or your accountability partner, challenging yourself to be aware of your positive traits. Then, in addition to confidence, developing charm also requires real good social skills. This means learning to read people's emotions and respond appropriately, being a good listener, and showing genuine interest in others, asking questions, really listening to their answers, and try to find common ground on shared interests that you can both bond over. So if you're talking to a girl and you can sense that she's not into it, don't insist, okay, guys? So many advice out there says to insist. If you keep forcing the conversation, you're either going to look pushy, annoying, or desperate. And none of these things are going to help you get to your goal. Instead, exit the conversation with something like, just wanted to let you know that you look great and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Be chill and say it with a smile and at ease. She doesn't owe you anything. You don't owe her anything. Do this because another important aspect of charm is having a positive attitude and a sense of humor. People are naturally drawn to those who can make them laugh and who are genuinely optimistic outlook on life. When you're talking to a girl, don't be afraid to crack a joke or two or to find humor in a situation by approaching her. In fact, I highly recommend doing this because women love an uplifting guy. I'm going to give you an example before I finish this off. Back in my days when I did approach with men, and I did it one-on-one with men or in group settings, I remember going to a Starbucks with one of these guys. And this guy was in his 40s. He had a little belly. I had to help him with his fashion sense a little bit. Never approached a girl. When we did our mock approaches with women I hired for him to practice on, he was so nervous, his knees buckled. He literally just buckled, and I've never seen it before. And he was so nervous. But here's what I will say. After working with me and having him do a couple approaches, he was so nervous, he bombed the first one, but that's what you have to do. I had my guys bomb their first ones if they were always nervous because I want them to see bombing or getting rejected is not as hard as it really seems it is. Getting rejected kind of trains your muscle a little bit to expect it, but also appreciate it as well. And so I remember once he started getting comfortable, he actually had interest in this one woman by herself on her laptop, drinking a coffee, no headphones on. And he was like, she's like my type of girl around his age. I really do want to talk to her, Apollonia. Like, this is a girl I'd probably ask out. I said, all right, I want you to challenge yourself then. I want you to sit down, cross your legs, like kind of like, how you guys cross their legs. And as soon as you sit down, go like this and lean over to her. And I just tell her, I'm just coming over here to sit down by you and show off my model looks. And he's like, I can't do that. That's crazy. I'm not even a model. I'm like, exactly. That's why it's even more funnier. And so after the guys we were with cheered him on, built him up to do it, he did exactly that. He sat down by her and he goes and he crosses his arms. He's a little nervous and he goes, I'm just sitting by you so I can show off my model looks. And he smiles. And the girl just starts smiling and she just opens up all of her body language to him. And she's like, oh my God, that was hilarious. And he's like, I know I'm not a model. My name is Sam. What's yours? And he introduced himself that way. And they started talking to the point where they were talking for 30 minutes because they got along so well that I went somewhere else with the guys and I told him to text me when he was done. He got her number and they ended up going on multiple dates. And that's the last that I know about that situation. That's what I mean, is working in your favor. He was the farthest from a model. He was a little overweight and he was farthest from a model. Not saying that models have to be skinny, but I'm just saying. He was an older guy. He was not primed and proper. And that's what made it even more funny, guys. So that is charm. That is the definition of confidence. That is charm and using it in your advantage. So as we talk about charm, I wanted to continue on. Lastly, charm is also about being authentic and true to yourself. While it's important to cultivate the traits that make you attractive to others, you don't want to come across as insecure or fake. Instead, focus on being the best version of yourself, adding humor, and letting your true personality shine through. In concrete terms, don't approach a woman and try to be someone you're not, because it's just going to be awkward. And even if it leads somewhere, you're going to have to basically play your role continuously. And who wants to do that? And as you can imagine, that's not going to create anything stable and long lasting. Developing charm is all about being confident and having good social skills, being positive and authentic, and connecting with others on a deeper level. By cultivating these traits, you can become the kind of person that people navigate and naturally gravitate towards and want to be around. So let's talk about playfulness for a second and why it's so important, especially during your first encounter with a woman. No woman wants to be approached by someone who has a heavy energy. Let's talk about what that means. Truth be told, this happens to us way more often than you would think. And that's why we have a guard when men approach us. So many guys give off a weird energy without realizing that they're being off-putting. But the easiest way to guard against this is to focus on bringing out your playful side. Because yes, everyone has one. So when it has this heavy energy, it's meaning like looking at us the wrong way, at us, and also saying inappropriate things about our body, or just asking if we can just go out. Hey, I want to take you out. Hey, what's your number? Hey, girl. Stuff like this. It's unfortunate, but women get this more than actual being approached by well-rounded men. Listen, I know that approaching women can be nerve-wracking experience for many men, especially if you're not used to it. However, one way to make the process more enjoyable for both parties is to approach with this fun and playful energy. Women automatically feel this energy, and it's very rare for guys to approach with it. When you approach a woman with this kind of energy, she'll respond by smiling and laughing as if you just gave her a shot of energy. This response is priceless and can make the entire interaction way more enjoyable for the both of you. One of the reasons why approaching with a fun and playful energy is so effective is that it puts women at ease. Women are often approached by men who are too serious, too intense, or too pushy. When you approach with a fun and playful energy, you signal to a woman that you're not like those other guys. You're different. You're not taking yourself too seriously. You're not trying to impress anyone. Instead, you're just here to have fun. And if she wants to have fun with you, she can hop into that energy bubble with you. And another benefit of approaching with a fun and playful energy is that it keeps you from taking yourself too seriously. Many men get hung up on the idea of being rejected, which can make them anxious and tense during the approach. When you approach with a lighthearted energy, you're not thinking about rejection. You're just here to have fun. And if the woman is interested in a conversation with you, then that's okay. You're completely fine with her walking away if not. This is why I was mentioning emotional regulation last week. This mentality is incredibly attractive to women because it shows confidence and security. It's important to remember that approaching with a fun and playful energy doesn't mean that you're not serious about finding a romantic partner. It just means that you're not putting so much pressure on yourself or on the interaction. When you approach with this mindset, you're still looking for a genuine connection with someone, but you're not taking the process so seriously that it becomes stressful or overwhelming. And there are a couple of ways to get yourself in this state of mind. So let's talk about some warm-ups first. All right. You want to get yourself amped up before you get into any social setting where you might be meeting people. I don't want you to be showing up and moping around low energy, because you can bet that won't work or get you any luck. Instead, it's all about getting yourself into a talkative state and preparing yourself for socializing. This is one idea of a warm-up, is to call someone up, whether it's a friend, family member, or even an operator who can engage in conversation. Ideally, call someone that you really love talking to, someone that always puts you in a great mood, or someone that cracks you up before going out and approaching women. This can help you work on your voice tonality, delivery, and timing while sharing your attraction stories, right? And what exactly are attraction stories? Attraction stories are personal anecdotes that highlight your best qualities and experiences. They can help you showcase your strengths and make yourself more interesting and attractive to others. By practicing these stories before you go out, you can feel more confident and prepare to engage with people and more make connections. And in your homework, you're going to have attraction stories segment. So attraction stories, I'm going to give you an example too, will be like one of my clients. He went to Peru, right? And this comes into one of your weeks where we talk about storytelling. And he was going to Peru, and when he went to Peru, he was wanting to hike in Machu Picchu, which is one of the biggest hiking mountains, in the wildest ones and the most unsafest ones too, but the most, craziest ones that are beautiful. And he was scared because he had really bad altitude sickness when he landed in Machu Picchu from Lima. And so his attraction story was, he pulled it through after 24 hours. He felt great. And he ended up wanting to finish his hike in 3 days, but he ended up finishing it in like 4 or 5 days. And in between, he talks about the things that he's learned, and he shows pictures to the girls that he's on dates with when he's approaching girls. And so the thing about him is he really loved Spanish girls. So half the time, some of these girls, when he asked them what they are, they would say Peruvian, some of them, and he would use that attraction story. And he had shared his photos and saved photos of him on hikes that were just great on the top of the mountain. And the women will be so involved because women from Peru know how hard that hike is, right? So you want to think about attraction stories. This can be in business, activities, hobbies, what you've overcome in life, where you are in life. And I'm going to give you a segment for your homework to work on this. This is attractions building stories to make connection with women. You can make them short and sweet and simple depending on your environments. And also the approach environment, if the woman has to go, or if you're at a bar and she's just hanging out as core of well. All right, let's move on. So, of course, it's not just about, attraction stories aren't just about telling stories. It's also about how you tell them as well. That's why it's important to work on your voice tonality, delivery, and timing. By varying the tone and the pace of your voice using appropriate body language and knowing when to pause for the effect, you can make your stories more engaging and memorable. Just like I'm kind of doing with you guys now. See how I just changed my tonality? So try not to be monotonous or dull. And remember, be playful with yourself. Have fun, just like I'm having fun making this video for you guys. Another fun game you can play in a warm-up with yourself that can help you before going out and approaching is think quickly on your feet and prepare for socializing is to name everything that is a specific color within 3 seconds. Give yourself little prompts like this so your brain can really think fast, because when you approach a woman, she'll be like, "Why are you approaching me?" And she'll laugh and smile. You want to be able to think on your feet. Why? Well, why shouldn't I? Right? This can help you practice being quick-witted and mentally agile, which can be very helpful in social situations. A few examples are name all the things that are blue around you, clouds, the wall, and just go and give yourself 3 seconds to be quick-witted. How many people are around you? You can identify that. Identify 5 of the sounds that you can currently hear, right? I hear the AC. I hear a car outside. I hear air flowing. I hear my cameraman moving. Simply see it like this and be quick. Seemingly simple. These things train your brain to be aware and in tune to your surroundings, which help you to be present and quick-witted. But why is it being quick-witted and mentally agile so important? Well, when you're trying to make connections with people, you never know what kind of conversation topics might come up. By being able to think quickly and respond in the moment, you can keep the conversation flowing and make a good impression and add in your humor and show yourself and the people that you're talking to. So now, let's talk about the biggie, how to open a conversation with someone you're interested in. All right. I know that this is the biggest roadblock for most guys because the whole concept of approaching a woman can feel really daunting. As I said, there's the fear of rejection, there's the pressure you put on yourself, there's the attachment of the outcome, but we need to detach ourselves from these unnecessary pressures. Honestly, dating and getting to know women is supposed to be fun. If you allow yourself to get all stressed out about it, then it defeats the whole purpose. See what I just did with my tonality and slowing it down? I had the long pause. All right, I know. That's why you're doing this program. I got you. This is why we're doing it. So let's talk about how to open a conversation with a girl that you meet. You're also going to be practicing this on your mock dates with my head coach. So sometimes guys just have no idea what to say to a woman, especially because they don't want to come off creepy. So my suggestion is to talk about her energy and to immediately make her understand that you're not going to take up too much of her time, because women are used to being hit on. So she might have the reflex that is nothing personal or nothing against you. Because remember, 9 times out of 10, we're used to being hit on, but most of them are really bad energy people that come up to us. So that's why we have that little wall. So your job is just to take that wall down. And she's going to start wondering how long she's going to have to engage with you if she starts a conversation with you. And another guy trying to maybe get her number. But you're showing her that you're different. You're not those bad energy guys. So you can nip that in the butt right away. And you can nip it in the butt also too by saying this line to her. And this is the best line. And I tell all my guys to always say this. Hey, just really quick. I just wanted to say hi and let you know that I don't know. There's something about you. You just really have great energy. And you smile and you pause and you see what she says. Or if it's more than one person, you can be like, hey, real quick, ladies, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Andre. It seems like you ladies have really, really good energy. I see you laughing, and I just wanted to come over and say that and see how it goes. You can also say something like, hey, ladies, you look really fun. So I just wanted to introduce myself really quick. My name is Andre, right? So these are different ways, but I love the energy card because the energy card gets you into the position of a woman responding, be like, really? Because it's a compliment, but not directly in her looks, about her energy. But be prepared because she's going to ask, well, what about my energy? And you can just confidently say, I don't know, something about your aura. You have a really good aura. I don't know. I feel sometimes I can have really good intuition. And you both start laughing together, right? So what brought you here? You have conversation, whatever. So it's a great way and a great leg way to open up for conversation. So essentially, the main idea behind this opener is to put the girl at ease and eliminate any potential concerns or questions that she may have in her head, which should allow you to have a smoother and more pleasant conversation because you automatically separated yourself from those guys that approach her that don't even know what the heck they're doing, okay? And be honest, guys, I've tried this for about 5 years now, and it works like a freaking charm. Again, one of the biggest concerns for girls when approached by guys is how long the conversation will last and whether they will be able to politely remove themselves from the situation if needed because they're not feeling connection. Maybe they're in a relationship. Maybe they're in a rush. Maybe they do feel connection. It doesn't matter. Remember, rejection is the same as acceptance. I talked about this already. That's why it's really important. So by using this phase real quick, you're letting her know that you won't be taking up too much of her time. That's a way that she can relax and enjoy the interaction without worrying about how it will end. Doesn't mean that you can't go on in a conversation because if you find a connection, you're seeing mutual common ground, the conversation's flowing and she's giving it back to you and she seems like she wants to continue the conversation with you, you can stay there for a little bit as well. And we're going to talk about that. But this also allows you to move on to addressing the second question that girls often have when approached by guys, which is what the guy wants from them and why he chose to approach them in the first place, right? By telling her that you wanted to introduce yourself because she seems to have good energy, you are giving her a clear and honest reason for your approach that isn't focused solely on her appearance or attractiveness. This can help her feel more comfortable and confident in the interaction as she can see that you are genuinely interested in her as a person and not just trying to physically hit on her. Lastly, by introducing yourself and offering your name without asking for hers, you are allowing her the space to reciprocate. if she wants to, but also not pressuring her into giving you her name if she doesn't feel comfortable doing so. And this is how you can do a good read. You see how I gave you those examples? And not one of the examples I said, so what's your name to her, right? You are offering the approach. And if she says, when you say, hi, my name's Andre, she shakes your hand. She's like, oh, hi, my name's Apollonia. So what made you think that I had great energy? And then the conversation goes from there and you can start to read them. So this can help establish a sense of mutual respect and understanding right from the start and give you the power to read, which can make the rest of the conversation flow a little bit more smoothly unless she's in a rush, unless she has a boyfriend. But last time I got hit on really well was at Trader Joe's and I had my wedding ring on and the guy still hit on me. And he's actually kind of used a line that I had and it was really funny. And I started talking to him and then he was like, all right, well, have a good day. He never asked me for my number. And I was like, I think he was hitting on me, but I think he saw my wedding ring. And then funny story, I'm loading my groceries in the car and he goes, everything I learned from YouTube really worked on you. And I looked at him and I just smiled and I said, good job, right? And I had a feeling, but I didn't know for sure. It was just so funny. But for me, Trader Joe's, checking out, I'm not in my coaching headspace. I'm in my woman's headspace. So I'm like literally not thinking about the things that I taught. I'm just literally being approached by a guy as a woman. And I'm like, wow, he was really cool. He was really nice. And I remember walking out and being like, damn, why can't that guy hit on a girl that's single? He seems like a good catch, right? And I remember thinking about that. And then I load up my car and he comes up to me and he said, everything I worked on is because I learned on your video or something like this. Thanks. And I just used it on you, something like this. And we started laughing. He's like, have a good day. So it was just really a joyous moment. I love to share that. So I actually had this material that I teach used on me without even knowing it, guys. And I know how I felt. So it's even like times 10 better. So let's move on. Getting off track. Once again, Apollonia to stay on track. All right. So this opener is a thoughtful and considerate way to approach girls and start a conversation in a way that respects their boundaries and makes them feel comfortable and at ease. It is really effective and well received by most people. So it definitely worth giving it a try, right? I should also add that this is a bulletproof approach, guys, because sometimes you might be unsure if she's single or not. So if you go up to her and talk to her and then her boyfriend comes over, then all you've done is compliment her energy, nothing more. I'm telling you guys, bulletproof approach. I'm not the coach that's going to give you multiple line openers because guess what? You don't need them. You just need these two. Okay? So you're being super respectful also, and you're being very positive. You're just a stranger that she met that was a nice guy and whatever. Okay? Now let's get a little deeper into the right mindset to have when you are doing this though. You want to get into a state of curiosity. Getting into a state of curiosity is critical when approaching someone you're interested in because it allows you to shift your focus away from yourself and onto the other person. This not only helps you to be more present and engaged in the conversation, but it also takes the pressure off of you to perform or impress since your attention is fully on the other person. Approaching someone with a curious mindset means that you genuinely want to learn more about them and what makes them unique. You're not just looking for a way to pass the time or get a date, but you're actually interested in getting to know this person on a deeper level. This mindset can help you ask more thoughtful and engaging questions, and it can also help you to listen more attentively to the other person's answers. In terms of openers, it's important to remember that this is the first impression that you're making on the other person. So it's important that you choose something that is genuine and authentic to you. The openers on the previous mention can serve as inspiration or a starting point, but ultimately it's up to you to tailor your approach to the specific situation and the person you're approaching. Your mindset is incredibly powerful, and it can either propel you forward or hold you back. By investing in the discipline to step out of your comfort zone and getting used to being in that uncomfortableness can challenge yourself to be the person you want to be. You can unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. One powerful way to reprogram your subconscious mind is through journaling and affirmations. By taking the time to write down your thoughts and goals and repeating positive affirmations to yourself regularly, you can start to shift your mindset and beliefs in a more positive direction. Over time, this can help you to overcome limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns and become more confident and self-assured in your interactions with women. And that's why I do this step by step, because this week I want you to try to approach and talk to women. If you are a beginner, I always tell my beginners, if you get a number, great, but your goal is not to get a number. If you have never approached women before, your goal is just to get comfortable with talking to them. Because I totally understand that fear can hold you back, but you need to talk about how to channel that fear into something positive instead of something that holds you back. And the truth is that fear is a normal part of all of this. We're all human after all. First things first, you have to work on your ability to emote, aka conscious vulnerability. Okay, you probably heard it before. People say emoting. I call it conscious vulnerability. Having the ability to emote is a critical skill when it comes to approaching women. It means being conscious of your feelings and expressing them in a genuine and vulnerable way. Okay, I know a lot of you got scared when I say vulnerable. I don't mean that type of vulnerable where you just show everything, all your cards. That's not what I'm talking about here. We're going to get into it. When you approach a girl and feel nervous, it's okay to acknowledge it and express it, especially if it's first time. In fact, it can help you connect with the woman on a deeper level and show her that you are a genuinely authentic person. When you're able to emote or show conscious vulnerability and express your feelings, it helps you be more present in the moment and less in your head. This means you are more likely to connect with her and have a meaningful conversation. It also shows her that you are comfortable with vulnerability and the willing to be open and honest with her. However, it's important to note that this technique is not meant to build attraction. Instead, it's a way to practice opening up conversations and staying in them. When you approach a woman and express your nerves of discomfort or you're nervous, it may make her feel uncomfortable or awkward, but it also opens up the possibility for a genuine connection, being like, it's been a long time since I approached. I'm a little nervous. Sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Let's start again, right? And something like this. So if you feel nervous or lost when approaching a girl, don't be afraid to express it. In many cases, she'll actually empathize with you and try to make you feel better. So you actually consciously kind of get to work, her getting to work for you. But then in turn, what you're going to have to do is turn up that attraction meter when you get to feel comfortable. Because if you stay in conscious vulnerability, it's not really attraction, it's more friendly. Okay, then I want to go to the next part. Let's say you have a great girl that you've approached and she's been open and talking to you, but she doesn't want to give you a number. She's like, no, I'm not interested, right? But she's been open with you. Then ask her for feedback. Again, this isn't going to build attraction, but it's going to help you fine tune the skill and demystify the approach. Asking for her real advice on how to improve your skills and talking to women shows that you are open to learning and growing, which is a positive attitude to have. Women love this. However, it's important to approach this in a respectful and non-threatening way, as some women may feel uncomfortable or defensive when asked this question. But it's important to do it the right way when you ask. It's important to respect their boundaries, and if they decline to answer, to graciously accept their response and just move on. You can ask her and be like, okay, just do you mind? Because it's been a while and I'm trying to update my social skills. Is there something I did wrong? Is there something I could do better? Would you be able to give me some advice from a woman's perspective? And see if she's open to it. And if not, that's okay too, because you're never going to see her again. So it's true that some women may not feel comfortable providing feedback or may give evasive responses, but it's also true that some women may be willing to provide honest and more valuable feedback, and that's more proactive, and that's more likely to happen, to be honest. So just approach this feedback with an open mind and a willingness to learn and grow. In terms of the idea of detachment and focusing on improving yourself rather than solely on picking up women, this can be a healthy mindset to have. It's important to prioritize your personal growth and development rather than solely focus on external validation or the goal of getting a woman. When you focus on improving yourself and your communication skills, you can ultimately become more confident and comfortable in your interactions with women, which will increase your chances of forming meaningful connections. Now, as we get to the actual conversation with a woman, we need to focus on 3 points when you approach her. All 3 of these points share one common goal, which is the fact that you want to have fun. Number 1 is laughter. Laughter is one of the most important aspects of any successful interaction. It can instantly put both parties at ease and create a positive, playful atmosphere. Whether you're sharing a funny story, making a witty comment, or simply just being silly, laughter is a great way to break the ice and build rapport. But don't worry, if you're not a natural comedian, you don't need to be the funniest person in the room to make your date laugh. The key is just to be confident, relax, maybe even willing to call yourself out and make it fun of yourself, and willing to take risks. If you can make yourself laugh, chances are the girl that you approach will find it amusing too, or the girl you're on a date with. So one technique you can try is self-deprecating humor. This is where you poke fun at yourself in a lighthearted way, not at your flaws, guys. Okay? For example, you can mention a silly mistake that you made recently or a funny quirk you have. This can show your date that you don't take yourself seriously, or the girl that you approach that you don't take yourself too seriously, and you feel more comfortable about yourself opening up as well. Just don't go too deep into the things that you don't like about yourself, because this can quickly turn her off. Remember, keep things light and silly. 2 is find a commonality, which is more part of rational attraction, which we'll go into in these in the 12-week segments. Finding commonality. So finding common ground is another important element of any successful interaction with a woman you're interested in. When you discover something you're both share an interest in or a connection to, and creates a sense of intimacy and familiarity, the key to finding common ground is to be curious and attentive. Listen to what your date is saying and ask follow-up questions to learn more. You might discover that you both share a love for particular cuisine, a favorite TV show, or a hobby like hiking or playing music. When you find common ground, it's important to express your enthusiasm and appreciation, show your date that you've excited, that you've discovered this shared interest, and that you're looking forward to exploring it maybe even further together. And that you don't have to say out loud, it's just through the conversation and staying in flow, okay? Flow is just staying in the same topic, leading into other topics instead of just asking questions that are so off topic, which we get into as well in this segment. So, of these weeks, and you're going to get examples in the group coaching. Number 3 is sharing. Sharing something personal about yourself can be a powerful way to create a deeper level of connection with your date. It can help build trust, vulnerability, and understanding. But sharing isn't always easy. It can be scary to open up and reveal something personal, especially if you're worried about being judged or rejected. The key to effective sharing is to be authentic and vulnerable, but just a little vulnerable in the beginning if you don't know the woman. Just sharing something about yourself that's lighthearted. Don't try to impress your good girl or the date with a flashy story or grandiose accomplishments right away. Instead, share something genuine and heartfelt. It could be a personal struggle you've overcome, a meaningful relationship in your life, or a passion that you deeply invested in, for example. When you share, it's important to create a safe space for your date or the girl that you're talking to do the same. Show empathy, actively listen, and respond with kindness and understanding. This can help build a sense of mutual trust and respect, which can lay the foundation for a deeper, more meaningful connection and more attraction. So by focusing on laughter, commonality, and sharing, which is a part of emotional attraction, sharing, you can create a fun, personalized, and memorable conversation with your date, because now you're bringing in rational attraction and emotional attraction in your conversations, which we're going to get into, not in this segment, but we do further on in this program. Remember to be confident, curious, and authentic, and above all, have fun with this. As this video comes to a close, I want to leave you with some final tips to get started. 1 is practice makes perfect. Approaching can be nerve-wracking, especially if you're not used to it. The best way to get over your fear is by practicing. Start small by talking to strangers in everyday situations, such as waiting in the line of a coffee shop. This will help build your confidence and improve your social skills. This is going to be part of your homework this week and for you to report in our group coaching when you can. Number 2 is be present. When you approach a woman, be fully present in the moment, put away your phone and focus on the conversation. Show genuine interest in what she has to say and actively listen to her responses. Being present will not only make the conversation more enjoyable for the both of you, but will also help you establish a connection. Number 3 is use humor. Humor is a powerful tool when it comes to approaching women. A well-timed joke or playful banter can instantly make you more attractive and likable. And don't worry, we practice banter and flirting in your mock dates, and we have a whole segment coming up about it. However, it's important to use humor in a way that is appropriate and respectful. Avoid making inappropriate or offensive jokes, and make sure that the woman is receptive to your humor before you continue. Number 4 is dress for success. The way you present yourself is important when it comes to approaching women. Dress in a way that makes you feel confident and comfortable. Make sure that your clothes are clean, well fitted, and appropriate for the occasion. A well-dressed man is more likely to make a positive first impression on a woman. Number 5 is practice good body language. Your body language can say a lot about you before you even speak a word. Stand up straight, eye contact, and smile. Avoid fidgeting, crossing your arms, as this can make you appear closed off and unapproachable. Good body language can make you appear more confident and attractive to women. Number 6 is be respectful. When approaching women, it's important to be respectful and considerate of their boundaries, and yours too. Avoid making inappropriate comments or advances, and don't be that bad energy guy. And always ask for the consent before touching her. Hey, can I have a hug? It was great to meet you, right? If a woman is not interested in talking to you, accept it graciously and move on. Remember that no means no, and it's important to respect a woman's decision. I hope you're ready to get there. This week's homework is going to help you to do just that when it comes to approaching. We're going to take it a little bit deeper on the approaching level, and you're going to see it in the detailed descriptions in the next segments of this program. I really want to get you accustomed to talking to new people. This is the whole point of approaching, so that you don't feel overwhelmed by these situations or get too much in your head. So it's one step at a time. And this goal behind this week's homework, which is all about approaching women and really focusing on how to do approaches with women. And depending on your level of approaching, if you're a guy that has never approached or you're a guy that is comfortable with approaching, you're going to take this homework to your level of what you need to do, which will be followed in detail in the next segment. Much love to you guys, and I'll see you in the homework, and I'll see you in the next week.